Imagine this. You're dressed in layers of petticoats, corsets, and a giant hoop skirt the size of a small tent, attending a royal ball, sipping tea with nobles, when suddenly nature calls. How do you lift all that fabric? Where do you even go? And more importantly, how did women menstruate in those dresses? Welcome to the Victorian era, an age of elegance, strict decorum, and downright baffling hygiene challenges. For decades, Victorian women were trussed up in crinolines and voluminous dresses, with Queen Victoria herself as a fashion icon of this style. These puffy garments symbolized ideals of femininity, grace, and decorum. But beneath the grandeur lay a daily struggle most history books don't mention. In the early Victorian era, flushing toilets and underground sewers were nothing but a fantasy. Europeans hadn't yet embraced the concept of the toilet. When nature called, you answered wherever you could, behind trees, in open fields, or right inside homes. The phrase, "didn't have a pot to piss in," wasn't just a colorful insult but a brutal reality, referring to the chamber pot, a simple bowl for collecting urine and feces. If you didn't own one, your only option was to step outside and hope for privacy. Victorians tossed chamber pot contents straight out the window onto the cobblestones below, making high-heeled shoes and umbrellas survival gear in cities where the sky could rain waste. The chamber pot, often called a jerry in British slang, was a household staple with a tightly sealed lid, not for courtesy, but as a warning, "This pot is full. Approach at your own risk." In the grand homes of the elite, chamber pots were hidden in ornate cabinets, tucked inside decorative furniture, or built into chairs, with servants scurrying to empty them multiple times a day, because even wealth couldn't escape the call of nature. Wealthy homes might have a private wooden bench with a chamber pot tucked inside. But one question lingered. Where did all that waste go? Enter the garderobe, a medieval-style toilet on upper floors, often hanging precariously over streets or alleyways. To empty the pot, you opened the window and tossed, shouting "Garde l'eau," French for "watch out for the water," to warn passers-by of the impolite deluge. The stench was unbearable. Homes reeked, streets overflowed, and cities drowned in filth, with some streets featuring raised stone steps so pedestrians could leap over running waste. During the Napoleonic and English Civil Wars, government agents collected chamber pot contents door to door because urine was refined into saltpeter, a crucial ingredient in gunpowder. Your pee literally fueled war. Women, draped in layers of crinolines, petticoats, overskirts, and bodices, often wore no knickers, as the swishing fabric concealed the absence. It wasn't until later, when bell-shaped crinolines caught gusts of wind and flipped women over in public, that modesty demanded drawers, crotchless ones, with two pant legs connected only at the waist, split down the middle for convenience. These allowed women to lower themselves over a chamber pot without lifting 20 pounds of petticoats, the overlapping cotton flaps parting like curtains. Women's chamber pots were oval with scooped insides to fit between the thighs, positioned subtly under skirts without squatting. At fancy balls, retiring rooms with multiple pots and maids stood ready, one lifting the gown, another positioning the pot, followed by a quick wipe with a damp cloth, and the lady returned to the ballroom as if nothing happened. Poorer women had it rougher. Pot on the floor, skirts up, squat, and clean with whatever was at hand. Old newspapers, leaves, or corn cobs. At the base of a woman's wardrobe was the linen shift, soft, washable, and changed often, sometimes daily. Privacy was a luxury. In poorer homes, entire families relieved themselves in front of one another, with no separate water closets or locked doors, just the pot, the floor, or the yard. At high society events, gentlemen strolled into gardens to do their business among the roses. As for wiping, early Victorians used dried corn cobs, rotated like a crude roller brush, reused and rarely cleaned. See sponges on sticks, dipped in communal buckets of salt water or vinegar, were another option, alongside leaves, straw, or seashells. As paper became more affordable, newspapers, catalogs, and magazines were repurposed, with toilet paper not appearing until the late 1800s and soft-rolled sheets only in the early 1900s. Victorian women managed menstruation with fewer periods due to early menopause, poor nutrition, and low body fat, but when bleeding came, they had no pads or tampons. They used a tea bandage, a primitive bikini bottom tied at the waist with absorbent rags packed inside, or, if too poor for cloth, moss, sheep's wool, or grass. These rags were washed, dried, and reused, with women changing them up to 12 to 20 times a day. On lighter days, some wore thicker petticoats to catch the flow. Split-crotch drawers offered little protection, designed for bathroom ease, not menstruation. Women were expected to remain graceful, poised, and silent about their pain, blood, and odor, managed beneath layers of silk, lace, and iron discipline. Victorian dresses with trains, lace, ruffles, and yards of velvet weren't washed like today's clothes. Laundry was a grueling, water-hauling, soap-scrubbing ordeal, done twice a year in the Great Washington. Full washings were rare and risky, as water and soap could ruin fine fabrics. Instead, women sprinkled dresses with talcum powder, brushing off dust and sweat odor, which only masked the smell. Dresses were stored in cedar-lined trunks or closets to keep out moths, treated as treasures of craftsmanship. Layers of washable undergarments, shifts, chemises, petticoats, crinolines, absorbed sweat and protected outerwear, scrubbed by hand in boiling water with harsh soap by overworked maids or laundresses. Victorian beauty came at a cost of sweat, time, and smell. So, would you turn back the clock to live layered in silk and soot, walking through sewage, brushing powder over body odor, and managing periods with moss and rags? Let us know in the comments below.